Beautiful people, it's a girl Gina and it's Gina's signatures today. So today I'll be making this beautiful dress, this beautiful gown. So it's like a 3-in-1 tutorial if you get the drift. Like the upper part or the upper bodies is like a princess that bustier. The middle part is going to be a flare, and then the last part of the gown is going to be a gathers form. And of course we have the sleeves, flare sleeves. I already have tutorials on all of this respectively, but this tutorial is also going to be doing justice to what you would need. So without wasting time, just sit back, relax, and let's get onto the main tutorial. So now this came out very beautiful, as you can see. I made use of 6 yards of fabric for this African print, 6 yards. So if this is what you're interested in, please kindly sit back and let's go right over to the tutorial. Thank you. So yes, we'll be cutting the first part of the bodies first. So this is called the half length, that is from your shoulder to the waist area. And so the thing I marked now was my shoulder measurement divided by 2, and then I added half an inch for my seam allowance. And so I came down for my armhole curve, and then I'll be slanting my shoulder by 1 inch, and then for the neck width I'll write 3 first, and later I would increase it to like 4 inches. Yeah, so I'm just sloping that and then adding half an inch for joining on the shoulders. Now the next thing I'll be doing is to get my bust line. So for the bust point or bust line measurement, whatever that is, you add half an inch to what you already measured for your client. The under bust, same thing is applicable, and of course the waistline respectively. And so now I just went up by 2 inches for my bust points just to get my chest line measurement. So that is what I just drew out on a straight line. So right there I have my bust point, my chest line, I beg your pardon, my bust point, my under bust, and then the waistline, and of course the sewing allowance. That is what we have on that table, as you can see. So now I'll be dividing the bust span or nipple to nipple measurement by 2, and then I'll be marking it, and then on the under bust and the waistline I'll be removing half an inch from that, the measurement I initially added, then I'll be connecting it like so. So right there on the under bust measurement I came in by 2.5 inches, as you can see, and then on the bust point you just come down by half an inch, and then you carve this out to give you your curve, your bust curve. So you can see what I did 2.5 because my client is on the busty side, but I think 1.5 or 2 inches should be enough for an average sized person. So now I came down from my armhole by the midpoint of my armhole, and then I'll be connecting that line to meet the middle bust span measurements. Now from that line that I marked initially, I'll be coming down by 2 inches, and then on my bust point I went up by half an inch. So that is what I just carved out now to give my bust that shoulder or armhole that or whatever. So that is basically what we are through with the bust area. And then for the neck depth I came by 4 inches for the width, and then for the neck depth I made use of 4 inches as well. So now we're getting my bust measurement circumference divided by 4, and then I'll add back the dart measurement, and then I'll add 2 inches as my sewing allowance. I'll not go to the under bust, I'll go straight over to my waist measurement, divide that by 4. I'll add back the darts that I took, which was 2.5 inches, and then I'll add my normal sewing allowance, which is 2 inches as well. So I'll be connecting this as you see me do. So now for the neck width, I came down by 4 inches. Okay, for this armhole area, sorry, I'm going to be extending that by the 2 inches that I came down with, because if not, this is going to be gotten a shortage when I'm joining my fabric. So please ensure to do that. So now for the neckline, I'll just come here because it's going to be having like a gap in the front, an opening. So I just came down by that by 3 inches. So we're basically through with the front piece, and then I'm cutting this out. So cut out as exactly as you see me do. So like I said earlier, I already have a detailed tutorial on how to cut this out. So this one is just like a bonus, because I can't just go ahead to cutting out the style without showing this. That is why you feel like, I don't understand, please just check out my tutorial. You see detailed tutorial on how to do this. So that's my underbust. I'm just trying to notch that so that when I'm sewing, everything is going to be sitting perfectly the way it should be. Now I'm cutting out the neckline, and then I'll be opening up the gap in the front. So now for this gap in the front, from the thumbnail you can see that it was wide, so I'll just come in by half an inch from the neckline and then slant it to the 3 inches that I came down with, like so. So this is what we have. So by the time you open it up, this is what you should be having on your fabric as well. So now let's go over to cutting of the back piece. So I'm going to be folding my fabric again into two, and then I'll be getting my shoulder measurement divided by 2 plus half an inch, just the normal thing, the exact thing we did in the front to get our armhole. This is exactly what you're going to be doing here. The only difference is that this back piece is going to be having a zipper allowance. As you can see, I've gone ahead to draw out my zipper allowance of 1.5 inches, but if you want to make use of 1 inch, please, that is totally optional. Now for the neck width, I made use of the same thing because of course the front and the back should align together. So for the neck depth for the back, I just came down by 1.5 inches, and then I'll be carving that out as a round neckline. So now the next thing I'll be doing is just to get the midpoint of the armhole in order to carve out our armhole, and then I'll divide the bust circumference by 4 and then add 2 inches sewing allowance. And then on the waist area as well, okay, let me just carve out the armhole. And then on the waist area as well, I'll just be dividing the waist by 4, and then I'll add 1 inch for that, and then 2 inches for my sewing allowance. And then I'll connect that. So let me get that. The bust span measurement is 4 inches, so I marked 4 inches, and then I'll rule that out on a straight line, and then of course just get half inch on both sides to indicate your darts. So when doing that, make sure you come down by 1 inch from your chest line, that is the armhole line, that's your chest line. So just do it like that. And then in order to avert bulginess of the zipper area, I went in by half an inch from the back, and of course at the waist area I'll be slanting half an inch as well to enter the dart. So basically we're through with both the front and the back pieces respectively. So I'm cutting out the neckline, and then I'm cutting out the shoulder slopes as well. So if you've watched up to this level, please hit the subscribe button, kindly like, kindly share, and kindly give this video a thumbs up. Thank you. So we have our front piece, and then we have our back pieces. So now we're going to the next step, that is the second stage of the gown, and this is going to be in form of a flare. So for this flare part, basically what you need to do, because I'm going to be cutting a half circle, not a full circle. If it's going to be a full circle, you have to fold into 4, but this is going to be a half circle, and then I'll be dividing my waist measurement by 3.14. So whatever you have is going to be your waist measurement. If it's going to be a full circle, you need to divide by 6.28, but half circle, half of that is 3.14. So you're going to be dividing your waist circumference plus 1 inch sewing allowance or 2 inches sewing allowance as you deem fit, and then you divide by 3.14. So whatever you have is what you're going to be marking as your waist line. I believe you understand me. So you're going to be folding your fabric in a bias form or in a diagonal form. Now I'm just trying to explain something here, that if you don't want the flare to be too full, you can just fold like not up to the end of the fabric, but I'll still be redoing this because I want the one I'm doing to get to the end of the fabric. So I'm just trying to explain or illustrate something here. That was why I did that initially. So now opening it up, and then I'll fold it very well, so you can see, just fold it like so, diagonally or in a bias form. So this is what you should have. So the pointed part from there, so from that pointed part you're going to be placing your tape there, and then whatever you got after dividing your waist measurement by 3.14 is going to what you'll be marking all the way around, and this is what I have. So I just want to ascertain my waist area, and then I have the perfect waistline with sewing allowances. Now the next thing is to get the length of the flare. Now In order for you to determine the length of the flare you're going to be making use of, you already know your client's full measurements, that is the full length of the gown. You know your client's half length. So basically, after getting your half length, that is from the shoulder to the waistline, you'll be left with whatever you subtract from your full length. So whatever you subtract from your full length, let's take for example, the full length is 60 and then the half length is 20. So you're left with 20, right? So that 20 now you're going to be dividing it into 2. You divide 20 into 2. Why? Because you'll be going to using 20 for the flare and then 20 for the third part of the gathers. That is what will make up for the whole length of the gown. I believe you understand what I'm trying to explain. So that is how I got the length for the flare. So the remaining length that I'll be adding as the gathers to this part is going to be the full length. That will make up for the full length of my gown. So I'm basically through with cutting off the length, and then I'll be cutting this out. So this is for the front part, as you can see. So I'll be folding my fabric again. This, when you open it up, this is how it's going to be. So we fold it into 2 again, and then you cut out for the back piece. The only difference between the front and the back piece is that you'll be adding a zipper to the back piece as well. So I'm just adding my zipper allowance of 1.5 inches, and then I'm cutting it out. So you cut out exactly. The only difference is just to add your zipper allowance. So this is what we have, and then I'll be slitting that open. And so the basic thing, this is the remaining fabric. So later I have about 4 yards or 3.5 yards of fabric remaining. So I'll just be getting the length of 20 inches and then gather it to make it up for the gathers for the lower part. But before doing that, I'll go ahead and couple the whole thing that I've done before the gathers part. So I'm going to be cutting all these out on my lining, the front, the middle, and everything, and then I'll be right back. So yes, I've gone ahead to join both the half length to the flare part, so you can see the bustier, the princess that bustier is busting. It's looking very beautiful. So I've gone ahead to turn it with my linings, as you can see. So to the linings for the bustier part, that is the half length, I added a gum stay to give it stability. Yeah, so I added that to it to give it that stability. When you wear it, it's going to be standing firm. So this is how it looks. It looks so beautiful. So this is the front piece, as you can see. So I've joined the flare part to that, and then let me bring the back parts. So for the back parts, it's going to be in 2, as you can see. So to the half length as well, the lining, I added a gum stay to that because I added in the front, of course, so I should add to the back. So you can see, that's what I'm trying to show. So for this back piece, the only thing left for me now to do is to just attach my zipper. So I'll be attaching my zipper to this part. Let me get my zipper. So I made use of a 30 inches zipper, and then I'll be attaching it like so. Take the sewing machine and attach it. After attaching this, make sure you close up the remaining length of the skirt, the lower part, when attaching the zipper. And then I'll bring the front part, I'll join it on the shoulders, and then take out my sides, that is the normal measurements, and then I'll be right back to show you the next step. So I haven't done that. This is what we have. I've gone ahead to join it on the shoulders. I've fixed my zipper, and I've closed up my measurements. As you can see, I've taken out my client's normal measurements. So this is what we have. So as you can see, I just want to open the zipper so that you would see. So everything is now almost ready. So the only thing left for us now is to gather this thing at the lower part, that is that flare part. So like I told you, the remaining fabric was 3.5 inches. So I'm going to be cutting out 20 inches. Then I'll add like 2 inches sewing allowance to that. That will be 22 length. So the length is going to be 22 inches, and then of course for the gathers it's going to be 3.5 meters. Well, that is what I have left. So I'm just going to be taking it to my sewing machine and gather it and then sew it all the way around the flare. So you can see this is what I did, just exactly as I explained. I gathered the whole thing at the lower part of my gown, of the flare part. So this is what it gave us. So you can see it's looking very, very beautiful, just exactly like what is on the thumbnail. So the next thing to do for me is to just go ahead and then fold my sewing allowance for the hem of the gown and then fix my sleeves. Now for this sleeve, I'm not going to be showing you a tutorial on how to do that. I already had a detailed tutorial on how to do this. Trust me, just go ahead and check out on Genius Signatures and you're going to be seeing how I achieved that. So that is how our gown came out looking this beautiful. So if you enjoyed watching this tutorial, please once again kindly subscribe, kindly hit on the subscribe button, and kindly give this video a thumbs up. So like I always say, this is Genius Signatures and I'm signing out. See you all in my next tutorial. Bye.